Joker puts on a show in Madison Square Garden. Zeke Nnaji may never miss another three again. Nuggets get a big win, plus a look around the West.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I jumped the gun.
That's okay. That's all right. We're going to roll with it. Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Network, your team every day. Thanks for making this your first listen each and every day. We're free. We are available on all platforms. Make up a platform, and you can find us on it. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network and the Nuggets Insider for 104.3 The Fan in Denver. He's Adam Mares. He's the director of content for DNVR, thednvr.com. Coming to you on Saturday after the Nuggets get, I don't want to say like a get-right game because we thought that they had the get-right game versus Miami and then screwed around versus Orlando and are now getting there. This was a get-right game from the letdown spot from the get-right game.
Bounce back, maybe. Bounce back.
Yeah. They absolutely trounced the Knicks. 113-99 was not that close. Let's start with Joker.
Yeah.
Just because the third quarter stretch, arguably, man, this was tough.
I know. He's done this a lot.
But like,
it's peak though.
Again, one of the things that I think has come to separate him, like if you had told me like Nikola Jokic is going to be better than Damian Lillard in 3 years. If you told me that 3 years ago, I would have been like, come on, man. Come on, it's Dame. And now to me, it's not really arguable just because Jokic controls the game on so many levels. And it was like he would create great shots that would get missed. So he just got the offensive rebound.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. It's like, it wasn't just that he was doing it. It's like, he won with like second options. It really did have multiple plays tonight where it's like he led somebody to a wide open three. They missed it. He just grabs the board and puts it back. And you're like, my goodness, so in control.
Yeah.
And I actually went back already and rewatched this, or at least that like condensed version of it. It really started in the second quarter too. I mean, he was great all game. He was great in the first quarter as well. But that second stint, the last 3 or 4 minutes of the second quarter, and then there was a little lull to start the third quarter. The first 2 minutes weren't great, but after that, it was just perfect basketball from him, just perfect and almost performative. I almost felt like, you know how the great ones, LeBron's done this, Jordan does this. Every now and then when they're in their bag, they're just like, hey, I'm a performer tonight. I'm putting on a show for the audience. That's kind of how it was tonight.
Yeah. All the players talk about how great it is to play in MSG. And so maybe that really had something. The other alternative is that he got to ride horses and that imbued him with the horsepower, and that's why he went off.
You're joking here, but you're actually also serious because you saw the video, right?
Yep.
I mean, he really, I don't want to overstate it, but it is like it taps to a different part of his soul. Like he just seems so happy talking about horses. First of all, he asked to do an interview, or he agreed to do an interview outside of when he was required. But he just looks so happy, and I maybe there really is something to it. He joked after the game about it, like maybe I need to start visiting stables in every city, kind of maybe.
Yeah, kind of maybe. Just be around horses, win MVP. 32 points on 14 of 19 shooting, 32 points on 19 shots with only one free throw.
Yeah.
What the God. 11 rebounds, 5 assists. The 4 turnovers were fine. This was a game in which turnovers didn't wind up being a problem. They had more turnovers, so that theory fell under because they got the Munder. Nuggets got the Munder.
Yes, they did.
Just barely at 99. Thought it was going to fall by the wayside. But you mentioned the second quarter. I've been tracking really intently after we've talked about it on the show, those stints, right? Of how many stints did the starters win? They won the first stint.
Right.
They lost the second one. They were Jokic was -5 in the second quarter. He got it together towards the end of it, but the overall stint they lost. And I thought in the third quarter, I was like, all right, well, here's what's going to happen. The starters are going to lose this third quarter.
The first 2 minutes, and Malone, to his credit, Malone called that timeout, which was kind of big because after the game, Nikola even mentioned, he goes, it kind of felt like the Orlando game again. And Malone called a timeout. They regrouped and they went out there and they dominated from that point on.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what was said, but they really buckled down after that spot. third quarter for Jokic, 15 points on 6 of 7 shooting,
My
4
goodness.
rebounds, 2 assists. Just bonkers stuff.
And some of them are funny, like the fake three where both defenders kind of run towards the bat, or it was a fake pass from the 3-point line. Both defenders run towards the rim, and he just stops, pauses for a second, drains the three.
Yeah,
he was in his bag, man.
The other big takeaway from this one, I think, is Zeke Nnaji, who I found the stat screwing around on Synergy yesterday, and can't believe I haven't noticed it before. Going into this game, Zeke Nnaji led the league. It was only 20 shots. All right, it's 20 shots.
Right.
But he led the league in effective field goal percentage. And
wow.
Yeah, he literally is the league leader. I'm sorry, on jump shots is what I'm referring to. So he's literally the league leader in jump shot effective field goal percentage.
Yeah. And it's still on low usage. I mean, even his threes, it's so funny. He went 5 of 9 tonight, and it lowered his 3-point percentage.
Yeah.
5 of 9 shooting. But his 3-point shot, he talked about it after the game. He's just so confident right now. Are you ready to, I mean, some of this is Denver's shorthanded enough that it's not that much of a question, but are you ready to sort of move him up at all in the pecking order? It's really JaMychal Green is the one guy, right? Because Aaron Gordon, Jeff Green, those guys are solidified.
I'm going back and forth. I mean, yes, I think, well, I guess I'll put it this way. I have to deal with the fans. Like, that is my feeling. Is like,
no, I want to know what your honest opinion is about this.
I subscribe to the ideals a little bit of you want to help. I think JaMychal's played a little bit better recently.
He has played a little bit better, but he was really bad at the start of the season. It's tough. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I'm obviously there with him, but I do understand what your reservation is about it.
Here's what I don't like. I don't like being hyper reactionary to short-term trends. Like, I tend to not be a guy that screams small sample. And one of the reasons I don't is I'm just like, if you always are like, well, it's small sample. By the time that you're not saying small sample, it's too late. Like, you've already lost, like, even if it doesn't hurt you, like, you lost a big opportunity to where you could have been better or could have improved your seating or whatever it is, right? So, like, I don't want to be hyper reactionary.
Zeke has played more minutes than JaMychal Green over the Malone at least has played him over JaMychal since JaMychal Green came back, which is only like 2 or 3 games, but still.
The other thing I would say is one of the reasons I kind of lean towards it. Zeke had 8 rebounds today.
Yeah, it's a big part. He needs to rebound.
Like, he's doing what I kind of envisioned that he would when he was drafted,
right?
Which is not spread the floor like Steph Curry, but spread the floor. And then, by the way, he's still number 1 in minimum of 10 attempts on the season.
I mean, he's got to be a little bit hot right now because he's not going to shoot this percentage.
You don't think he's going to have an 85% effective field goal percentage on jump shots?
I'm just even talking about his like open threes, to be honest. Like, I even feel like he's a little hot right now just on open ones.
Yeah. Look, I think especially with where the offense has been, I think that you need it. Now, this is now 2 out of 3 games where Denver has shot the absolute lights out in the last 3 games. Yeah. They shot the lights out versus Miami. They shot the lights out versus New York.
They played the first quarter of the Orlando game. They also set themselves up for a blowout win. That's part of what factors into this equation here is that game was weird because they lost it, but they at least started with it.
Today was a complete game, which I think is I'll say this. You do not see that a lot from Denver. It's something that I've kind of had to come to like grips with. Like, this isn't ever going to be a team that does that. I kind of had to let go of the idea that for me to judge them on it, because like that's my lean is to be like, well, okay, if you want to be a title contender, are you a complete team? They just rarely do it. And even today, I will say, like, because it was such a slow-paced game, the Knicks wound up with a 112 offensive rating. Like, the Knicks had a bad, I think, third quarter, but in general, their offense was okay. But Denver had a 127. Like, they were just cooking. Yeah. I mean, just cooking offensively. And like, if you have Jokic and anybody that's on a heater in terms of shooting,
right.
Like, Jokic had a 137 offensive rating today. Monte Morris had a 139 and Zeke had a 133. Like most of the starters had a 130 or better offensive rating.
A lot of what this was tonight was just that, Jokic has dominated like this. I mean, he got a little, he caught a little bit of fire in that third quarter, but he's been great in like every stint in games before this year. The difference was the bench had such a good first half.
Yeah.
That it like just blew the doors open on this one.
Yeah, and like this is the model really, is the Nuggets starters win 3 of the 4 or win 2 of them so much that the third doesn't matter. And then the bench plays great in one stint.
Yeah. We've talked in the past about being good, like either you win by 2 or 3, you lose by 2 or 3, but it's not that big. Today they won their stint, their first one by a lot, and that just separated it. So
let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about Davon Reed. How about Davon Reed?
I think it's Davon, but yeah, he was great. They keep saying Davon today, so I'm guessing that's right.
Davon Reed. My apologies to Davon Reed. Davon Reed. We'll get to Davon Reed after I talk about TrueBill, who's our sponsor. Did I do that right? No. Okay. I didn't pull it off. No. All right. Want to let you know about today's podcast being sponsored by TrueBill. Do you know why free trials renew without your consent? Because they want to get your money. They're just trying to sneak it out of you. You forget about it, and then all of a sudden, you got charged too late, and you have to wait another year. Don't let greedy corporations pocket your money. Download TrueBill and take control of your subscriptions. TrueBill is a new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions that you don't want or simply forgot about. On average, people save up to $720 a year with TrueBill. Because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel, TrueBill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your accounts, and TrueBill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap. And your TrueBill concierge is there with you when you needed them to cancel unwanted subscriptions, so you don't have to. TrueBill has over 2 million users and helped them save over $100 million. Don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. Go right now, TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. It could save you thousands a year. TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for making us part of your day. Matt Moore and Adam Mares with you on a Saturday night. Saturday night, buddy. Ain't got no buddy. I just got money. I just got paid. Sam Cooke. Go listen to some Sam Cooke on the weekend. Sam Cooke's amazing. Okay. Davon Reed. I'm gonna Google this.
How it's pronounced?
I should know this. I should know this already.
He was really good tonight, man. I liked what I saw from him. And I think Malone's going to love him.
Via Basketball Reference, it is, in fact, Davon Reed. My apologies to Davon Reed. I should have known that going in. Yeah, Malone was impressed with him. Look, NBA caliber, NBA size guys. I just think it's a big deal. He had some really nice rotations. His first possession on the floor, he made a really great recovery to almost force a steal. And I was like, oh, okay. Davon wants to stick. Like, this is what you got to do. A lot of guys, I think they're either intimidated or they don't we've talked about this before, right? With the Nuggets, you don't want to mess up things. But it really, with Malone, he is always going to reward you if you screw up because you tried too hard.
Yeah, but I think even more to the point, just if you don't screw up, I mean, that's when you're talking about role players, that's the number one thing you want is guys that aren't going to make mistakes. And I thought that was what was so impressive about him tonight was he made smart, swing pass type plays or this or that, hit a couple shots, but more than anything, he just didn't seem like a guy that you're like, oh my gosh, you're not going to know if you can count on him or this or that. He talked about being obviously with the team in summer league and through training camp that he walked into, being added to this team. And he's like, yeah, I just knew all the plays. I knew all the schemes. I knew all the language. That's so helpful for him not to be a guy. I mean, there's guys that have been on the team for 2 or 3 years that didn't know all of the terminology and stuff. So for him to already be there, I think he's going to stick. I mean, given the Nuggets' circumstances, I don't think it's like an outlier that he's immediately walked in and played over guys like Marcus Howard.
Imagine if they'd had a G League team sooner. I'm sorry. That's what
maybe. Yeah.
9 points on 3 of 4 shooting, 3 of 3 from 3-point range, 4 assists, 2 steals and a block for Davon Reed.
Wow. 2 steals and a block. Wow. That's impressive.
He and Campazzo combined for 8 assists. That's really good production off the bench. Yep. That's what you need, honestly. Yep.
I wonder how many of those were to Zeke too.
I would bet quite a few.
He was draining threes off of those guys.
Zeke, by the way, 21 points on 7 of 13 shooting, 5 of 9 from 3-point range, 5 3-pointers made.
That's
8
crazy.
rebounds, and 2 steals for him. Look at all the steals the Nuggets racked up. 10 steals for the Nuggets tonight.
I'm so curious to see. It's fun, man. Like streaks in sports are fun, and Zeke's on a little bit of a streak right now. I said, I think he's a 40% 3-point shooter. Maybe he's a 42% 3-point shooter given what he gets, but he's on this streak right now. What is it? 60-something%? He's on the streak right now, and I'm just curious to see how long he could stay this hot.
I care very specifically about the number I pulled about jump shot shooting. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Can he keep up shooting 85% effective field goal percentage on jump shots, which would make him the greatest jump shooter of all time? He passes Steph Curry in less than 82 games. Aaron Gordon and Will Barton struggled today. I thought they both had bad games. Aaron
Gordon was in foul trouble. I thought Barton was okay. I mean, he got 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 13 points. I thought he was okay. I don't think he was bad. I don't think he was good.
Yeah, no, the struggled is probably too much. Struggled shooting. To me, when I watch Will, his jumper looks a little flat because he looks tired.
To me, the thing is that he just doesn't attack with the same like intensity or frequency. That's the thing to me that I kind of watch. He's not going to the rim a ton.
I think the minutes that he had to log in that stretch where they were so shorthanded, especially with that Joker, I think that probably took its toll. Now it could just be like he just had a game, right? Like
right. Yeah,
he's had a few games. I haven't necessarily loved how I've seen from him lately, but like the effort, I don't think it's like he's mentally not there. He's mentally engaged. And I will say too, it is good just because if they ever have like any sort of if they go on a little bit of nervousness, he'll come in and like settle things down. And that is good because he's just like extremely confident. Yeah, I didn't Aaron struggled today, but it really didn't matter. Like
it didn't matter at all.
He was a -1. And I will say they had a lot of success when they took out Aaron and they put in Campazzo, like that go into that lineup. Like really
well, it's interesting. Aaron Gordon's foul trouble is part of what Zeke Nnaji had a great first stint and he got extended minutes because of it. But he also ended up playing 34 minutes tonight, and a lot of that was because Aaron Gordon was in foul trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, in that second quarter, he had just played like an 8-minute stretch. He goes to the bench for 2 minutes and then had to come back in because Gordon was in foul trouble and played well again. So it opened up an opportunity for him that he took advantage of.
How about Jeff Green with 11 points on 4 of 7 shooting, a +9 tonight, 5 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 4 stocks for Uncle Jeff, including my favorite play defensively of the game, the chase down block that he had, that he ran so fast that immediately the person he was defending scored on the inbounds play because he had no gas left in the tank after running that fast. But
it's funny. I thought that play in some ways ended the game because it was like a fast break, give me layup that he just was like, no, like you're not getting any of that. This is not your guys' night.
I thought they did a really good job on Julius Randle. Randle wound up putting up numbers in garbage time.
All garbage time.
His RJ Barrett had trouble scoring. He's been struggling as well. I thought Jokic did a great job versus all the bigs. And like honestly, like Mitchell Robinson could be a type of guy that, in terms of like the pogo guys that we talk about, the hyper athletic, that at least is not ideal for him, right? But like, I mean, I don't know. I say this and it just doesn't matter, right? Like,
I don't think it matters anymore. I honestly don't know if there's an archetype that's the thing he struggles with. I mean, I don't know. I don't see it.
Former Denver Nugget Evan Fournier, 15 points on 14 shots. Thought maybe he was going to get it going. He struggled.
Get it going. Did he struggle late?
He struggled late. And then Derrick Rose, another guy that kind of had it on stats, but I didn't think he played necessarily well. Nerlens Noel was a -24. Whew. Rough night for him. But yeah, overall, this was like a really good feel-good win. I told you, 2 of 3. Well, 2 of 3.
What is? Oh, so they need to win one of the next 2. Okay.
Yep. Bulls and Pelicans. I'm betting they're going to beat the Bulls and lose the Pelicans.
Pelicans have won a couple now, so we'll see.
Yeah, they're hanging. They got Brandon Ingram back. They're starting to figure some stuff out.
This really was a bounce back feel good one. I mean, they hit some shots, but it was Jokic just looks so in control, and maybe we'll start a new 2-year streak of no bad games.
I mean, it's nice that I will say too, it was good because it was an early game on a Saturday. There was college football, but in general, like most of the NBA world was watching that game, and you could tell like Twitter was like, "Holy God, Jokic just destroyed them."
Knicks fans really do think Jokic is just. I mean, they think he's the GOAT. Like they've seen a few of these now that they're like, how is this guy this good?
Which is funny because they were real haters of him because of the Porzingis thing early on.
That's how you know, man. That's how you know you've done it when you've turned everyone just to stop.
They said that I think it was Singer that said it was in that spot where they were starting to cheer for him.
Right.
They're booing the Knicks and cheering for Jokic, and that's it's a pretty good sign of being legendary. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll take a look around the Western Conference when we come back on Locked On Nuggets. But first, I want to tell you about oh yes, indeed, it's Built Bar. It's holiday season, so that's the whole thing. Is if it's the holiday season, we got to talk about Built Bar. Grab the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, or even better than a candy bar. It's a Built Bar filled with so much holiday goodness, rich with decadent flavor, covered in chocolate, but amazingly low in calories, sugar, net carbs, and fat. And it's high in protein. You get the best of both worlds, delicious and healthy. So many flavors, you'll have a hard time choosing. We have a raspberry or a mint brownie or a cherry or a double chocolate. My favorite's cookies and cream. How about peanut butter brownie? Built Bar gives you that extra fuel you need to bust down those mall doors and battle all the holiday shoppers. Or if you're just standing in endless shopping lines, Built Bar can give you that extra something to keep you going. Throw one on your jacket or purse. You never know when you're going to need it. Because it's the season of peace and love, don't bring up your favorite Built Bar flavor at family parties. People are so passionate about their favorite flavor, they'll fight for it and things could get out of hand. Are you friends with Santa? Well, tell Santa to throw in a few Built Bars in those stockings. With so many flavors, they make anyone's Christmas morning a happy one. Want to cozy up with something warm? Here's a holiday secret. Dip your Built Bar in a piping hot cup of cocoa. Let it melt a little and give your beverage a bit of Built Bar flavor. Plus, you'll have a nice melty Built Bar to go with it. Be sure to have a couple napkins on hand. You like some of those marshmallowy treats around the holidays? You need to get your hands on Built Bar Puffs. They're light, fluffy, and marshmallowy through and through. Different flavors, all covered in chocolate. Taste so good, you won't believe they're filled with protein. Go to Built.com. Use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. That's LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Also brought to you by BetOnline. If you are listening to this and you're listening to it in the morning on Sunday and you want to get a bet in before the big Sunday night game between the Denver Broncos.
Yay! How are you feeling?
Nervous. The Sharps all like the Broncos.
Really?
Eddie's like a legend at covering on the road as a dog. The streak is so out of hand now that it's like, okay, we have to lose the Broncos at some point. Like, my life is filled with so many agonizing losses to Denver. It's got to end sometime. So I feel like maybe this is the spot. I don't know. I have the under on the Chiefs and the under on the Broncos, so I'm going to win either way. Like this loss helps me in my bets either way, but I'm a little nervous. I still kind of feel like the Fangio is going to do something stupid, but we'll see what happens. But if you feel more confident in your take on this game, you can go to BetOnline on their new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your promo code LOCKEDON. That's promo code LOCKEDON to receive a 50% welcome bonus. But not just football, basketball, NHL, boxing, and UFC. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for making this your first listen each and every day. Now make your second listen Locked On Bets with Boy Q and Lee Sterling. It's free and available on all platforms. Adam, if the Chiefs do win and make this streak, continue the streak, and I'm going to probably say it's Locked On Chiefs tomorrow. I'm just going to let you have a heads up. I'm going to say that. And then our ratings will just – that's weird. The first podcast to have a negative 5-star rating on Apple. That's odd. Locked On Nuggets. A little bit of a look around the Western Conference, right? Because I think the standings are interesting at this point. Dallas has now lost 2 in a row. They're 3-7 in their last 10.
Wow.
The Clippers are 3-7 in their last 10. They lost to the Kings again tonight. The Nuggets, notably, are 3-7 in their last 10. The Lakers are 4-6. The Blazers are 5-5, but they've lost 2 in a row.
Blazers
and they're now
are on a downward spiral. They might be cooked.
I will tell you that I'm writing about this for Action Network. The expectation in league circles is that there's change coming. Like whether it's like fast, if they promote the interim guy and just hang with him, if they hire somebody new, like Portland may be looking at a major shakeup. We'll see what that looks like, but I think it's that there's definitely some big change in because Dallas it turns out that their very fraudulent record is getting exposed. I'm sorry, like there's no other way to put it. Like if you do any deep dive into Dallas, you're like, how is this team above 500? Like there's no other way to do it. Like you look at Dallas and you're like, how is this team above 500? Well, they're now 500 and falling. We now basically have there's one tier at the top of the West, which is Warriors, Suns. I'll include the Jazz.
You're being generous there with the Jazz. They're definitely not in that tier to me.
They're only 3 back.
Sure.
Well, I'm not talking playoffs. I'm talking regular season performance.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if the Jazz got the 1 seed, how surprised would you be?
Pretty surprised.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess you're right. Not, I mean, pretty surprised, but not. It's possible. Sure.
So a big reason that I still feel pretty confident in Utah is if you take a look, like I'm always tracking these kind of numbers. I do these daily because it's part of how I put together my betting stuff. The Jazz are the number 1 half-court offense team in the league, and they're 7th in the half-court defense. So the majority of the time, the Jazz are winning in the minutes where most of the games are played. That doesn't mean that I think that they can beat the Nets or I'm still not sold on them as a playoff team. I think that they're trying stuff, but I just keep going back to I don't think they can beat the switch. But I do think that Utah can definitely climb up there and get back to a number 1 seed. Like Warriors have lost 2 of 3 now. You're going to take some losses as the season goes along. Memphis, pretty impressively, is at 7-3, but they're now 13-10. So Denver trails them by 2 games in the standings.
I don't expect that to hold.
Here's kind of like what this is the thing is like if Denver can just stabilize, the West has not gotten away from them despite missing Jokic, despite losing MPJ, despite the bench, despite losing Dozier. The West has not run away from them.
Right.
They're still within range of this. I want you,
and especially just because there's such a drop off between those top 3. I mean, Denver could catch up to one of those teams. They're 7 games back from both the Warriors and the Suns in the loss column. That's quite a bit for 21 games in the season. So, but if you're just talking about like a top 4 seed, that 4th seed, yeah, for sure.
Or a 3rd. They're 4 back of you. They're 4 back of Utah. As much as I just hyped up Utah.
Right.
I could definitely see that happening. I want to ask you about the Lakers because we kind of got into this the other night, but I am really curious. What's your take on the Lakers in terms of why you're so out on them?
I just don't think they're very good. I don't think they're a very good defensive team with a lot of upside. I think the spacing issues are real. And if it was just a matter of they had some like key role players, this or that, okay, you have to have a tough conversation to bench your guy that you didn't want to, but you just can't do that if it's Russell Westbrook. He's too big of a name. Like they're going to have to play that trio. I don't see it working that great. I don't think they're going to be a cakewalk, especially for a team like as hobbled as Denver is. I would be so shocked if they won the championship this year. They haven't shown us anything that makes us think that they should be considered a champion.
True.
It's just the LeBron Anthony Davis duo, but I'm telling you, I think they're too easy to sit on. And then lastly, I'll say this. I got so many reasons as you asked this to me. The last one is just that they're 12-12. They're going to have to sprint. They're going to have to compete just like everyone else, and I think that will wear them down.
Them only being 12-12 after such an easy start to the season, I will admit, is a concern. Like that's
it's going to be a grind. Even if you say that they do win it, like they're good enough and they're the 4 seed, and then everybody says, haha, I told you. I will say LeBron just had to sprint through 82 games at age 37, or 36. That's not good. I don't think he can do it.
They have the 29th current ranked strength of schedule so far.
Yep.
including the 30th ranked. This is the most concerning one. They have the 30th ranked defensive strength of schedule. So this is on dunksandthrees.com, which it basically means they've played a bunch of crap offenses.
Okay, there you go.
And their
And
defense.
you know what? And I think their schedule is toughest from here on out.
Don't you think if they stagnate, that eventually they shake up the roster?
I just don't know how you can. That's the thing I mean.
Isn't somebody like I continue to believe that somebody will pull the trigger for Russ?
I don't. Part of me wonders, like, first of all, nobody out west would do it because I think that they know that this, like, you don't want to help. The Lakers right now are not a threat. So if you trade with them, they become a threat, or at least potentially.
What about the team that the Nuggets played today?
The Knicks?
Yeah. So like, what if they gave them Mitchell Robinson? They wouldn't give him.
I don't even know what pieces you're thinking here. Like, Quickly can shoot, Fournier can shoot, Burke. Yeah, I still like that. He doesn't. I don't know. I don't see it, man. I mean, I don't know. Are you believing in him?
Yeah, I'll say that. I'm not. I still kind of expect for April to get here and me be like, you're still gonna have to go through the Lakers.
Yeah.
A lot of it really is like you're gonna have to show me. I think it's possible LeBron just never gets healthy, right? Because he's had major injuries in 2 of the last 3.
Right.
But you're going to have to actually show me somebody beating him is part of it. Is beating him and AD. So like I have staked out my position on Anthony Davis is insanely overrated. Like that's my position right now. I've been like shouting it.
Yeah.
Even defensively this season, like he's a mess. He's a mess defensively. I'll say that. Like there are people that are like Anthony Davis should be in the defensive player of the year conversation. Get out. Go. I am begging you to go watch every clip you can find with him on the court defensively. But I also look at it and I just go, they played badly. What do they just play better? Like what? Because a lot of this really is just like, what do they just play better? Like, do I think that the Lakers can play better defensively? Yes, I do. The offensive stuff, I agree is an issue. I don't have like a counter for that. There's no magic tonic here for their spacing issues. We knew that was going to be a problem.
I don't think they're going to be good defensively. I really don't.
That's fair. I think that's fair. Do you have any thoughts on the Clippers as we kind of round this out?
I think Denver's a good matchup for him still. I think Ty Lue's a really good coach. They're talented. I don't know. They're kind of similar to me. We'll see what happens with Kawhi. Should he try to come back, which it sounds like he will.
Yeah,
Denver, I think, is more suited for them than most.
Denver's right there. It's weird because everyone has really written them off. It's interesting. Like there's Denver's been written off. Like everyone's like, well, sure Jokic, but no Murray, no Porter. Season's over. And I'm just like, I don't know, guys. They still got a lot of talent. They're gonna get Murray.
Jokic is just so good, man. I mean, honestly, that's what a lot of this comes down to. Is you watch him nights like tonight, and the Knicks were just like, I mean, they were a joke to him tonight. They really were.
Yeah, I agree that so much of it just is Joker. I do want to say, like, the starters are doing their jobs, and the guys that they're playing with Joker are doing their jobs.
Stars look great when they have players that are like willing to sort of accentuate his talents, and that's part of what's going on, in my opinion, right now. And even when we talk about Barton being down, he's not being down in a way that hurts Yoke. He's just not lifting them, but they don't need lifting.
I love that take. That's a great take. That's a great take by you. I love that take. What was I going to say? Oh, I have one more thing, which was Facu Campazzo hit 2 threes today, so he was a positive, as he's always a positive when he hits more than 1 3.
He's on fire. I think he's shooting like 45 or something percent. I can't remember what it was over the last 10 games.
He airballed the last one. Still okay.
His misses are funny.
His misses are really funny. The layup, the floater that missed the rim entirely was a wild one too. But I look. Again, I think
by the way, that is a legitimate concern or complaint to me, because I've always said his 3-point shooting is not what worries me. Like, it's great that it's good. You have to be able to finish at the rim. And Monte, by the way, does this really well. The floaters he gets, the mid-range he gets, Facu just doesn't finish. And that layup, most guards just don't miss layups that bad.
Very few guys are 3-level scorers. Not as
Right.
many as there used to be, at least in the league.
Right.
And it's okay if you're just a 2-level scorer. And it's honestly, if you're a bench player, it's fine if you're a 1-level scorer. My concern has always been that he's a 0-level scorer. That like he's too small to finish at the rim and doesn't have a good enough. He can't hit the mid-range off the pick and he can't shoot threes. But if he's hitting threes, then he's fulfilling that factor, and like he had one. I think it was. Oh yeah, this is the one. I thought it was JaMychal and it was Davon. Davon made a really great extra rotation and Campazzo stepped into it and it was clean. That was a really clean rotation. So great win, great performance. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Locked On Nuggets to get you set for the week as the road trip from hell continues for the Denver Nuggets. Send us your questions that you guys want to talk about. Thanks for sending us all the great feedback. Check us out on YouTube. Go to YouTube right now. Subscribe, help us out. Go to YouTube. We added 100 people since I started begging for this. So I'm going to beg more. Please go to YouTube, subscribe and like. You can check out Adam's work at thednvr.com. Follow him on Twitter at Adam_Mares. Hope you guys are staying healthy and safe, and we'll see you guys again next time on Locked On.